Let me know, Amina, when you press record.
Done.
Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyi'ati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My pause, sisters, that you hear in my voice, my heart racing as I'm reading and losing sight of what I'm reading, is because I am in researching this topic for you today in this most beloved name of Allah, Rabb. I am filled with, I can't tell you, my hands are wet and my heart is shaking in my body just even now thinking about Allah's name. And how am I going to, and may Allah help me. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yusri li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. There you go again. How am I going to portray that to you? Actually, Allah, open my chest. Oh my Lord, open my chest and ease my task for me. Remove the impediment from my speech, which is clearly there, so that they may understand what I say. There you go. It wasn't from me. All of that anxiety or stress of how can I portray to you even the little bit that I have realized today, it's not going to come from me. So may Allah bless us in what we're going to talk about today, in a deeper understanding that brings us closer to Allah, our Lord, our Rabb, that we may gain something that touches our heart so deeply that our consciousness, our taqwa of Allah increases on this blessed day of Ramadan, because that is the purpose of Ramadan, so that we may gain taqwa. Well, throughout these sessions of the 99 names, may we continue to gain taqwa, and may we gain a deeper understanding today as we're making dua using the name Al Rabb, Ya Rabb, Rabbi, Rabbana. As we use this beautiful attribute of Allah, may we gain a deeper understanding of what it means. So, to give you a little bit of an understanding, I wanted to share with you actually that before Islam, the word Rabb was used quite frequently by the Arabs. They referred to the housewife, for example, the mother who takes care of the house and the needs of everybody in the house, as the Rabbul Bayt. They used the word Rabb to define the breadwinner, the one who provides for the house. And the word Rabb was also used for the leader of the tribe. And then comes Islam, and Allah pronounces أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. All praise is due to the Lord of the worlds. Not your house, not your job, not your tribe, not your flock, these little worlds that we get caught up in. Not those worlds, but all of those worlds. And not just mine and your worlds. The worlds in itself, the galaxies, the planets. All of the galaxies. Not just one world. Imagine that. That's why the Arabs were able to accept the attribute of Allah very easily, of Rabb, because they were used to it. It had a very nurturing quality, a providing quality, a leadership quality. They were used to using it. But now they were told Allah is the Rabb of the world. Now, when I chose this name, sisters, we use it so much, and I didn't know much about it other than it's, the name that Allah uses many times in the Quran for the du'as, the Rabbana du'as. And so I knew it was a very beloved attribute of Allah, but I didn't know more about it. So that's why I chose it, because it seemed to have such importance and significance, but I didn't know. And in fact, one of the most beloved name of Allah is Allah, and Allah refers to himself as Allah most frequently in the Quran. But of his attributes, the most beloved attribute was Rabb. And so it really intrigued me, why did Allah choose this attribute? And we've been learning about the different attributes throughout the sessions. It's been amazing, alhamdulillah. But one of the things I found when I looked into what does Rabb mean, Rabb, it actually had the attributes that combine those other attributes together. So, for example, the first thing that it means is it means the ultimate owner. The ultimate owner of everything, who controls everything. All ownership belongs to Allah. And that ownership can't be transferred to anyone, not for one moment. It's not like we have a child and then suddenly that ownership is transferred from Allah to us and now we own our child. No. Or we're married, so we own our spouse. Or we have a job, so we own our business. Or we have our food that we bought, so we own that food. No. Ownership of everything belongs to Allah, and it's never transferred away from him. Even if we think it does, it remains with Allah. He created us, as Sister Farah told us the other day when she covered the name Al-Khaliq. He created us from nothing. So this name encompasses not only that he's the owner of everything, that he controls everything within it, but he created it from nothing. So he created it from nothing. So he owns it and he controls it. That's the first aspect of Allah's name, Rabb, the unconditional owner. But with that comes the creator, Al-Khaliq, and it comes the ownership. Second aspect of Allah's beautiful name, Rabb, is it refers to the one who is obeyed. Because nothing happens except at the will of Allah. Because he's ultimately in control of everything. He's the unconditional owner, the ultimate owner and controller. That nothing happens except by his will. Nothing, not even you breathing or you blinking or a leaf falling from a tree. So therefore, Allah is the one who we must obey. He's the one who gives guidance and knowledge so that we can obey him and know how to obey him. He is the one who is to be obeyed, and he is the one who gives hidayah and knowledge, ilm. So you can see here, he creates us, he controls us, he owns us, and then he guides us and teaches us so that we may obey him. Second aspect of Allah's name. The third aspect of our Rabb is to take care and nourish us. Because without our Rabb, we cannot exist. He sustains us and he provides for us. He takes care of our absolute every need. That's why I asked you, what of your needs are being taken care of while you're breathing? Your ability to think, your ability to see, your future, your organs, your heartbeat, being able to walk, the sun shining. Now, even if we think about the air, look at that, subhanAllah, that we will breathe in oxygen, but the trees, they are exhaling the oxygen and inhaling the carbon dioxide for us. That perfect process so that you can relax and breathe and not even think about, is there enough oxygen in the air? Am I going to inhale too much carbon dioxide? I don't have to worry about that. It's being taken care of. In fact, there is nothing in your life that is not being taken care of. There is not one thing in your life that is not being taken care of, because you could not live without Allah taking care of you and sustaining you. You just couldn't exist. In a way of taking care of you, the root Rabb also includes raising or bringing up, right? Now, I often say this when I'm working with parents as a parent coach, that Allah is raising your children. But in fact, Allah, our Rabb, is raising our children, because that's one of his attributes. He provides and takes care of everything. Our Razak provides for you your sustenance, your income, your food, your heat, your clothes. Absolutely everything is being taken care of. He is your owner, your master. He provides for you and he nourishes you. SubhanAllah. My hands are still wet, sisters, at the awe and immensity of what Allah does for us. Like we knew it, I knew it. But just to take a moment to reflect has just really grabbed my heart. You know, one of the great gifts of learning the names of Allah is that we learn about Allah. And when I'm teaching psychology and I'm teaching people to solve their problems in our world, in our work as a coach, there are 3 things that I say that are important for you to understand. Number 1, how your mind works. And we've done some training sessions already in this that you'll find on the YouTube channel, Sisters Seeking Salam. A little bit about that I've shared and the sisters have shared. Secondly, to know who you are. And again, that has come up so much in these beautiful sessions, that we are just a servant, a soul. We're not our thoughts, we're not who we think we are, we're not who we think we should be. We are who we are. We are souls, servants of Allah. But you know, that seems a little bit empty in itself until you know who Allah is. Only when you know who is Allah, like what are his attributes, what is he doing, what is he taking care of, what is under his remit, until we understand that, it's really hard to understand who we are. It all slots into place as a beautiful puzzle when you understand who Allah is, because then you know who you are. If he's your owner, then you are his property. If he's your master, then you are his slave. If he's the one who provides and nourishes you, then you are at his mercy. And if he takes care of everything for you, then he is all you need. You understand who you are when you know who Allah is. And this name, subhanAllah, encompasses so much of Allah's attributes. So how can we live by this beautiful name of Allah? First thing is to feel it when you say it in your salah, in your 5 prayers, and more at the moment in Ramadan. We're praying even more, reading Surah Al-Fatiha, even more than just 17 times a day. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Take a moment, really take a moment to reflect on all the things that you consume your mind with, all the things that you think are your problems to solve. You know, in your little world, you've got to sort out this, this, and this. You know, I'm sure your to-do list in your house is different from your husband's to-do list and your children's to-do list, and and your teacher's to-do list, and that we all have our own little worlds. But Allah is the Lord of all of those worlds. And when we think that our problems are for us to solve, they're not. They're being taken care of by the Lord of the world. And when we worry about what the future will bring, or how our children will end up, or what's going to happen tomorrow, and how is our life going to plan out, we just need to hand it over to the Rabb of all the world, Rabbul Alameen. Now today just a small example, but as I was coming on to this session, I went to pray 2 rakats. And my mind was still occupied. You'll probably know this from your own experience. You're praying and your mind's still a bit occupied with the worry that you have, the thing that you're getting consumed with in that moment. So what I was getting consumed about was, how am I going to cover this in less than 30 minutes with all the gems that I picked up? And so it was on my mind. And I handed it over to Allah. Just for a moment, just stopped. I made dua and handed it over, and then I carried on my salah. Like it was just a moment, But then what happened was, my mind was still going a little bit. And then what happened was, I suddenly found myself reading a surah that I don't know as well. Like I'd memorized a big surah, but I don't know it as well. So when I read it, I have to really put my attention in it to remember it and read it correctly. And when I did, I realized my attention moved away from what was consuming me to actually the Quran, my salah. And I had to focus. And as I did, I felt that in the remembrance of Allah, the heart finds comfort, security. And I did, as I read, and I was focusing on my reading, so I wouldn't make a mistake with the surah. I felt that tranquility transcend on my heart. And then I realized Allah, our Rabb, my Rabb, Rabbi, took care of it for me. He even took care of my thinking. I don't know how I ended up reading that surah. I didn't plan to read it, so I didn't, check that I was going to read it properly. Just went into it. As I was reading, I realized it came from Allah. I was reading because it came from Allah, that surah. And I had to focus on it, and in focusing, it took me away from what was worrying me. I felt that tranquility in my heart, and I remembered, this is not from me. Whatever you get is not from me. Whatever I say, it's not going to make the difference. It's what touches your heart. It can be in half an hour, it can be in 40 minutes, it can be in an hour, it wouldn't matter. And I just took myself out of the equation. I handed it over to Allah. Now we're constantly doing that. We're constantly going into our salah with the worries of our world in our mind, in our hearts, thinking that it's for me to deal with. So as you make that dua in Surah Fatiha, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, hand it over to Allah. Feel the greatness of Allah. Know that you don't need to take care of any of your worries. You don't need to take care of them. Let it go. He's the only Rabb of the world, of humans, of angels, of jinns, all the galaxies. He takes care of everything 24/7. Let this increase your love, fear, and hope in Him each time you say Rabbil Alameen. Because that's what I'm feeling. My heart is bursting with love and fear and hope of Allah. And have you noticed, sisters, how when you say in your rukus, Subhana Rabbi Azim, in each sujood, Subhana Rabbi Ala, each time you say these beautiful phrases in remembrance, truly, when you say them from your heart, not with your tongue. There's a big difference from reading, from talking to Allah, connecting with Allah with our hearts and our tongues. But when we do it from our hearts, remember that Allah is your Rabb. Each prayer is filled with this beautiful name. Your heart will find peace. Your heart will find peace. Even when I'm reading, when I'm doing tasbih, you know, or I'm reading the dua, Hasbi Allahu Rabbi, Hasbi Allahu, that dua from the morning azkar, I hand over in my mind, in my heart, as I'm reading, because you have to read that dua 7 times. And I hand over in each time one of my worries. One of the things that during the day came back to me was consuming me. So I hand it over to Allah. I'm like, you know what, Allah, you're sufficient for me. You're the one taking care of this. I leave it to you. And I hand over in my heart. It's almost like a letting go, a letting go, a letting go. I hand it over to Allah, and my heart finds peace. Because there's one thing to know who you are. Like, I'm not the one that can that can take care of this. I'm not the one that can do this. I'm not the one in control. There is one thing to understand that aspect of who you are. I can't do it. I can't do it. There's one thing to understand that, but there is another thing altogether, another level to understand who are you handing it over to. Your heart finds such reassurance when you know who you're handing over your problems to, your worries to, your world to. Hand over your world to Allah. Rabbil Alameen. Yes, we have birds singing. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. They're real birds, by the way. Alhamdulillah. One of the other ways that we can live by this beautiful name of Allah is to use the Rabbana supplications from the Quran. Now, I was always someone who would like to make dua a lot, like write my own duas, write a lot of duas. And then I went for Umrah last year, and I had this deep realization as I was at the Kaaba, and if you have a few minutes to stay on, I want to share with you. And as I was walking around the Kaaba and I was making tawaf, like I could see that, you know, that moment when you put your hand up, you know, at the green light, but on that corner, the Yemeni corner, you put your hand up and it looked like to me, everyone's waving. It looked like everyone was waving. And then it was like, and I was just associating it. So this is all just my own, from me, not from anywhere I've read. But this is what I saw. That it looked like we were leaving Allah, you know, when we were souls. We were souls on, you know, all together gathered, witnessing Allah. Once upon a time before we, you know, came to this earth, we were all souls and we all witnessed Allah. It was like at that point we were all home. And then we left and we came to this dunya and we're making a journey. We're making a journey in this dunya only to return home. Now, sometimes we get lost in that journey. But ultimately, we're on a journey to return home. And when I saw that wave, it was almost like we were waving goodbye to our home. And we were coming on this dunya and we were going to make a journey. And I really felt like, well, it's like if I could go back now, because I don't know what I knew back then. It's, you know, but if I now knowing how hard this life is, how many struggles I've had, what I struggled with, what the challenges are, what things worked out like, if I could go back home, you know, just for a moment to ask Allah to help me on my journey, what help would I ask for? If I could just go back to that time and ask for help, now knowing what I know, what would I ask for? What would I ask for? And it hit me. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. If I only had a moment to ask Allah for quick help before I was leaving on my journey to this world, I'd ask for the good of this world, the good of the hereafter, and to be saved from the fire, in short. And that is why we're reading that dua around, well, I don't know why, but for me, I was like, wow, isn't that the most amazing dua to read? If that's what it was, we were leaving Allah, and the quickest dua, the quickest thing I could think of, if I only had a few minutes, would be to make that dua. And in fact, we read that dua, you know, for 1/4 of the tawaf. So I thought, well, that would be amazing. That was amazing. That hit me like, that's a really powerful dua. And then I started looking at the 40 Rabbanas. I had them on my phone. I was reading them as I was making tawaf. And I realized that each one of those would be what I would ask for. If I had time to go back and ask Allah, Allah, prepare me for this journey. Prepare me for this journey on this dunya. What would I ask for? And as I looked at each one, without knowing that that's what I needed, without being able to figure out what I needed, as I looked at them, I realized they were the du'as I would ask. That's what I would ask Allah to help me with, knowing what I now know. And suddenly I realized, subhanAllah, it is here with us. We've already been given what we need. Even in the du'as in the Quran, you're given the du'as you need, the help you need, what you need to ask for, what you need to be aware of, what you need help with. It was already there. I don't have to go and figure out the new du'as. Now, of course, I make my own du'as too, that are personal in my heart, but I hadn't given the du'as in the Quran the importance that I suddenly saw just then, being everything we need. Just like Sister Dr. Amina is doing the morning and evening azkar and realizing and sharing with all of you in such a beautiful way, mashallah, that you know what, these morning azkar and evening azkar, they're everything you need for your day. They're so important. Like suddenly realizing how important they are. That's why we've been given them. Well, that's what happened to me when I looked at the du'as, the Rabbana du'as on Umrah. I realized that's everything you need for your journey. And it went on because I was thinking, well, actually, you know, when your child goes on a school trip, and most of them go on a school trip at the age of about 10, 11, you know, you're really worried about them going. You try and give them everything they need. You pack their bags, you prepare them, you talk to them, and then you write them a letter. You know, I don't know, most schools do that, where you write them a letter and then the schools give them the letter, teachers give them the letter part way through. You know, when they're losing hope, when they're missing home, when they're not sure what it's all about. You know, why am I even here? I just want to be home. I just want to get home. And then it hit me. The Quran is like Allah's love letter to us, our letter to tell us His words, what this is all about, why you're on that journey, and how to make it back home. This is the roadmap to home. And these du'as will remind you of that, will bring you back to that, will keep you focused, will help you. Our Rabb has given us everything we need. And I hope that in the few words I've shared, that comes across to you as it has for me. I will ask for feedback, but before I do, I came across this dua that, subhanAllah, was, you know, and we're told when we're making dua, the etiquettes of dua is for us to, one, call upon Allah's most beautiful names and attributes, to then acknowledge who we are and our shortcomings, and then to call out for help. So I came across this dua I want to share with you. And it was just in an article I read. Rabbana is the most comprehensive name because Rabb means the one who will cherish, the one who will sustain, the one who will take care of, and the one who is in charge of me. Oh my Rabb, you are in charge of me. I don't have anyone else who is in charge of me. In the end of the day, no one is responsible for me other than you. And I believe that. Now, how often, sisters, do we think we're in charge, or that someone else is in charge of us? Someone owns us, someone tells us. Our kids might own us because they tell us what they want all the time and we have to do it, or our husbands, or our in-laws, or our parents. But actually, Allah, I don't have anyone who is in charge of me other than you. No one is responsible for me other than you. Now, how often do we get disappointed because we want people to take their responsibilities of us more seriously, to do it properly? You know, they should be providing better, they should be protecting better, they should be supporting better, they should be caring better. They're responsible for me. No, no one is responsible for me other than you. And I believe that. See, we can say it, but if you don't believe it, you're not going to feel it. Oh Allah, you are my Rabb. Who else is going to take care of me? Who else is going to give me my needs? Who else is going to give me my needs? Who else is going to answer my desperation? Who else? And so often we get caught up in taking care of me, taking care of my needs, taking care of my desperation. How am I going to solve my problem? I'm desperate. I'm in despair. How am I going to solve my problems? The worries, the problem, the dynamics. Only your Rabb. Oh Allah, you are the Rabb. You are my Rabb. You are the only being I can turn to outside of this entire creation. I pray that I've been able to, I don't know what I've been able to do. I pray you have found benefit. It's not about me. SubhanAllah. I pray you have found benefit. And I'd like to ask each of you to share one thing that you have heard deeply or seen deeply, because in that it will be a reminder for everyone. So if everyone can do that, and then we'll end, inshallah. You heard peace. Alhamdulillah. Wa iyaki, Sister Meru. Alhamdulillah. Okay, Abda, it was beautiful. Why? What did you hear? What did you ladies hear? The du'as from the Quran. What did you hear about the du'as from the Quran, Hafsa? Dr. Amina, Allah has given me everything, even the du'as and the words. He's a Rabb. He's taking care of even the du'as for you, and even the words. How to find our way back to Allah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. You heard the sweetness of this beautiful name. Alhamdulillah. You heard you didn't even have to figure it out. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. You don't even have to figure it out. Sister Leah says, I hear that we are going home soon. Oh, yeah. And may Allah invite us to His home in this world, because that's the closest we're going to get to returning home, at least in this world. May Allah invite us and give us that comfort of being in His physical home in this world. May He invite us to Umrah and Hajj as soon as lockdown is over, so that we can feel that pit stop home. You heard that Allah takes care of all of our needs. That another sister, to stop worrying. Another sister, that the Quran is the roadmap to home. My Rabb, Rabbi. And you know when you say that word, sister, Rabbi, tell me what emotions you feel. What's the word you feel when you say Rabb? My Rabb, Rabbi. Tell me one word. What emotion does that capsulate for you? Love, reassurance, peace, mine. Yeah, your Lord. That's the one ownership you have. Your Lord. My Rabb. That's the one thing you do have. He's my Lord. Alhamdulillah. Allah is our creator. We belong to Him. You feel love. You feel security. You feel that no one else is closer to you. You feel safe. Your giver, your tranquility. Completely submitting yourself. Feels like Allah loves me and wants best for me. And that is true. It feels like it, but it is the truth. Even when it doesn't feel like it, Farina, it is the truth. So don't ever forget it. Sister Hafsa, no one in my car. No one is in my car. We expect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is honor in that. Okay, you might want to explain, Hafsa, because, no one is my carer, sorry. I was like, are you sitting in your car? No one is my carer except Allah. And there is honor in that. Such honor. Wow. Rabb is mine for me. SubhanAllah, one ownership I have. He honored us by attaching us to him. Yes, he's looking out for me. Sister Iram says, I want to just drown. What do you mean, sis? I'm sure it's something very immense. Sister Hamida, I belong to him. Allah is taking care of my existence. What a beautiful name, subhanAllah. Brings so much tranquility to our hearts. Yes, alhamdulillah. One sister Rosina says, mashallah, very beautiful reminder. May Allah accept it from us. I take away, Allah is our nurturer. He looks after us all, in every way, all the time. And he's the only one we need. SubhanAllah. And we don't, Sister Hafsa says, we don't need anyone. And we don't need to be disappointed by anyone. And you know what? You will never, ever, ever be disappointed with your Rabb. Never can you be disappointed with your Rabb. Sister Hafsa said, I read the du'as from the Quran, but now will take on a different meaning for me. Oh yeah, they so took on a different meaning for me. SubhanAllah as well. Like I looked at them and realized they were what I needed. That's what I would ask for if I knew, and I wouldn't have even thought to ask for some of those. But now knowing what I need, I would ask for them. So one of the homeworks I'm going to give you, ladies, because we don't give homework on SSS, so I'm going to give you homework, and I hope you can accept it and forgive me. I want you to go and look at the 40 Rabbana du'as. Have a look at them and tell me from your heart, what do you see? Reflect on them. Are these the du'as that you would make for your child if they were going away on the trip? Is that what you would want for them? Is that what you want them to ask for, so that they remember that they actually have it? So have a look, and also share your comments in the WhatsApp group, because I think it will vastly benefit everyone. And let us, inshallah, go back to giving even more importance to the du'as in the Quran, if you haven't, like me, been doing that. Sister Iram says, I feel so emotional just thinking about what Allah has blessed me with. I want to meet him in a way that he is happy with me. And you know what? That is what is one of the most beautiful intentions that you can have, motivation for everything that you do. Is it not to be punished? Is it just to get to Jannah? Is it just to reach a high level? Is it just, and these are amazing things. But what if it is just so that you meet Allah in a way that he is happy with you? Now in Surah Fajr, with, as part of the coaching, what we do is we really look at mastering our nafs. And Allah talks about that. So I cover this, in one of my teaching segments, that when you work on yourself, when you work on mastering yourself so that you keep turning yourself back to Allah no matter what trouble is going on in your world, you keep looking back to Allah, you keep turning yourself back, that Allah will say to you, come, know that your Lord is pleased with you and you are pleased with him. Of course you're going to be pleased with Allah when you know that he's pleased with you. Imagine that you live this dunya working on yourself, seeking Allah each time you are going through a problem, turning back to him, not getting lost in it. And because you kept doing that he is happy with you. Imagine, could you ask for anything more in the hereafter than your Rabb being happy with you when you turn home, when you arrive home? I'll leave it there, sisters, on that note. And I think I've covered everything on my notes, inshallah. I covered what I was meant to. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.